Dr. Jean sat in his chair and looked at the many screens around him. He worked for the Galactic Council as their best expert on new alien species. For 20 years, he had studied how different aliens made first contact with the galaxy. Every time it was the same. The aliens would watch quietly for a long time. Then they would send one careful message. Then they would wait for an answer. It was always slow and polite. But humans were different. Very different. "Sir, we have another signal," called his helper Min from across the room. She was a tall blue alien with 4 arms. Right now, all 4 arms were moving fast across different control panels. That makes 17 different human contact attempts in the last 6 hours. Jean rubbed his head with 2 of his 6 hands. 17 attempts. In 6 hours. Most species took 17 years to make one attempt. "What kind of signal this time?" he asked. Min checked her screen. "It looks like children's drawings? And some kind of food recipes. Oh, and mathematical equations about something they call faster than light travel, even though they cannot travel faster than light yet." Jean stood up and walked to the main display screen. It showed a map of their part of the galaxy. Red dots marked where human signals were coming from or going to. There were red dots everywhere. "Show me what we received today," Jean said. The first signal appeared on screen. It was from something humans called NASA. The message was very formal and scientific. It talked about peace and learning and working together. It included pictures of human art and music. "That one seems normal," Jean said. "Show me the next one." The second signal was completely different. It came from human military forces. This message talked about strength and protection. It included information about human weapons and their ability to fight. The tone was not threatening, but it made it clear that humans could defend themselves. 2 very different messages from the same species, Min noted. But wait, there are more. The third signal made Jin's head hurt. It came from what humans called the internet. Thousands of humans had worked together to create one massive message. It included everything from scientific data to funny pictures to something called memes. Parts of it made no sense at all. "What is a cat video, and why did they include 47 of them?" Jean asked. "I do not know, sir. But the humans seem to think they are very important." The fourth signal was from human children. A school class had sent drawings of their families, their pets, and their planet. They also sent questions like, "Do you have ice cream on your planet? And can you be our friends?" Jean sat down again. His species, the Keth, valued order and logic. When the Keth had made first contact 60 years ago, they had spent 12 years preparing one perfect message. They had sent it once and waited patiently for a response. Humans had apparently decided to send everything they could think of and see what worked. "Sir, we have more incoming," Min announced. "This one is from human religious leaders. They are talking about peace and love and something called turn the other cheek. But we also received another signal from human philosophers discussing the ethics of war." Jean watched as more signals kept arriving. Human scientists sending technical data. Human artists sending poems and songs. Human leaders sending formal diplomatic messages. Human citizens sending personal letters. Some messages talked about peace. Others talked about being ready to fight if needed. Some were serious and formal. Others were funny and strange. "How do we report this to the council?" Min asked. Every other species had one clear message with one clear purpose. Humans have 17 different messages with 17 different purposes. Jean thought about this problem. The Galactic Council had rules for everything. There were procedures for dealing with peaceful species and procedures for dealing with aggressive species. There were methods for handling logical species and methods for handling emotional species. But there were no procedures for handling a species that seemed to be all of these things at the same time. "Sir, we have an urgent call from the council," Min announced. The large screen lit up with the image of Council Leader Hai, a wise old alien who looked like a giant tree with eyes. "Dr. Jean, we need your preliminary assessment immediately. Our deep space monitors show that human signals are reaching every corner of the galaxy. Some of our member species are concerned. Others are curious. We need to know what humanity wants." Jean looked at all the data surrounding him. How could he explain this? "Council Leader, humans appear to want everything," he said slowly. "They want peace, but they are prepared for war. They want to share their culture, but they also want to protect it. They want to learn about us, but they also want to teach us about them. They want to be friends, but they will fight if they must." "That makes no sense," Council Leader Hai replied. "A species cannot want contradictory things. With respect, Council Leader, humans can and do. They sent messages of peace and messages of strength. They sent formal diplomatic communications and informal personal letters. They sent advanced science and children's drawings. They appear to believe that all of these approaches might work, so they tried all of them. The council leader's tree-like face showed confusion. What do they want us to do with all of these messages? I believe they want us to choose which type of relationship we prefer, Jean said. If we want scientific cooperation, they sent scientific data. If we want cultural exchange, they sent art and music. If we want formal diplomacy, they sent diplomatic messages. If we want to be friends, they sent friendly letters. If we want to fight. Jean paused. They made it clear they can do that too. This is unprecedented, the council leader said. We will give you more time to study them. But we need a full report soon. The galaxy is talking about nothing else. As the call ended, Jean looked around his research station. 17 different types of first contact from one species. Most aliens found this terrifying. Some found it exciting. All found it confusing. Jean was beginning to think that confusion might be exactly what humans intended. Dr. Jean spent the next week diving deep into human history files. What he found made him question everything he knew about intelligent species. He called his assistant Min to his office early one morning. Min, look at this data, Jean said, pointing to his main screen. I found something that should be impossible. Min walked over and studied the display. It showed information about a human conflict called the Korean War. What am I looking at, sir? Watch this recording, Jean said. He played a video file recovered from human military archives. It showed human soldiers in the middle of a fierce battle. Explosions went off around them. They were shooting at enemy forces. But then something strange happened. One enemy soldier fell down, wounded. Instead of leaving him, the human soldiers stopped fighting. They ran toward the wounded enemy. They gave him medical care. They carried him to safety. Then they went back to fighting his friends. That makes no sense, Min said. Why would they save someone and then fight his allies? It gets stranger, Jean replied. He pulled up another file. This is from their World War II. Look at this medical report. The file showed human doctors working in field hospitals. They were treating wounded soldiers. But Jean pointed to something unusual in the data. See these patients? Some are human soldiers. Some are enemy soldiers. The human doctors treated them all the same way. They saved the lives of people who had been trying to kill them hours before. Min stared at the screen. This behavior pattern exists across multiple conflicts? Every single one, Jean confirmed. But here is what really confuses me. He opened a new file. This same species that shows mercy to enemies also created some of the most terrible weapons in galactic records. The display showed information about human nuclear weapons. The power levels made Min step back from the screen. They built weapons that could destroy their entire planet? Yes. And they used them twice. But then look what happened next. Jean showed the aftermath data. After they used these terrible weapons, humans spent massive resources helping the people they had attacked. They rebuilt their enemies' cities. They provided medical care for decades. They turned their former enemies into close allies. Min sat down heavily in her chair. Her species, the Veltar, had clear behavioral patterns. They were either in warrior mode or peace mode. Never both at the same time. How is this possible? Are they warriors or healers? Both, Jean said. Always both. Look at this data from their space program. He showed her information about human space missions. They sent medical supplies and scientific equipment to their space stations. But they also sent weapons. Every human spacecraft is prepared for both research and combat. Maybe they are just paranoid, Min suggested. No, look at this. Jean pulled up more recent data. When they discovered a damaged alien probe in their solar system last year, what did they do? Min, read the report. They fixed it? And sent it home with gifts. Yes. But they also immediately began developing better space defenses. They helped the unknown aliens and prepared to fight them. At the same time, Jean walked to the window that looked out into space. Min, every species we know has one primary response to danger. Fight, flee, hide, or submit. Humans seem to have all four responses active at once. He showed her video footage from human hospitals during their wars. During battles, human medics run into active combat zones to save wounded people. They carry medical supplies and weapons. They heal people while others fight. Sometimes the same person does both. That level of cognitive dissonance should cause mental breakdown, Min observed. But it does not. Look at their psychological profiles. Jean displayed brain scan data. Human brains can hold contradictory emotions simultaneously without stress. They can feel compassion for enemies while fighting them. They can mourn casualties while planning victory. They can hate war while being excellent at it. Min studied a particularly confusing case file. This human soldier received a medal for saving enemy children during a battle. The same day he was promoted for his combat effectiveness against adult enemy soldiers. His fellow humans saw no contradiction, Jean noted. To them, protecting innocents and defeating threats are both noble actions. They do not see these as opposite behaviors. Jean pulled up the most disturbing data yet. Here's what frightens me most. Humans have something they call rules of engagement. Even during war they follow certain rules. They refuse to target civilians. They provide medical care to prisoners. They have laws about how war should be conducted. They make war civilized? They try to. They are the only species known to impose ethical limitations on themselves during conflicts. They could win wars faster by ignoring these rules, but they follow them anyway. Min looked at more data. They also have something called war crime tribunals. They punish their own people for fighting incorrectly. Yes, Jean said. They are warriors who judge themselves for being too warlike. They are healers who prepare for battle. They are the only species that train soldiers in medical care and doctors in basic combat. He showed her one final piece of evidence. Last month, humans detected what they thought might be an alien distress signal. They immediately sent a rescue mission equipped with medical supplies, engineering tools, and enough weapons to fight a small war. They prepared to save aliens and fight aliens simultaneously? Standard human procedure, apparently. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and be ready to do both jobs at once. Jean began typing his report to the council. Min, how do we warn the galaxy about a species that wants to be everyone's friend but is also prepared to be everyone's enemy? How do we explain creatures that will die to save strangers but also kill to protect others? Min had no answer. Neither did Jean. But he knew one thing for certain. Humanity was unlike anything the galaxy had ever encountered. Dr. Jean rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at another impossible piece of human data. 3 weeks had passed since he started studying humanity, and each day brought new confusion. Today he was trying to understand something that defied all known patterns of intelligent behavior. Min, come look at this, he called to his assistant. I think I found humanity's most dangerous trait. Min approached his workstation, her 4 arms carrying different data tablets. More dangerous than their warrior-healer paradox? Much more dangerous, Jean said grimly. It is their complete inability to give up. He pulled up a historical file on his main screen. Look at this event from human history. A human explorer named Ernest Shackleton tried to cross Antarctica. His ship got trapped in ice and was completely destroyed. Min studied the data. So he died. No. He and his crew survived on the ice for over a year. When the ice broke up, they traveled in small boats across one of the most dangerous oceans on their planet. When they reached a rocky island, Shackleton and 2 others walked across unmapped mountains to find help. Then he went back and rescued everyone. That is impressive, Min admitted. But many species show survival instincts. Wait, there is more. Jean opened another file. After this experience, what do you think Shackleton did? Min considered. Stayed home safely? He immediately began planning another Antarctic expedition. He died while preparing for it, still trying to go back to the place that almost killed him. Min's gill slits fluttered in confusion. That is not logical behavior. Jean pulled up more examples. Look at this. Humans tried to fly for thousands of years. They built wings and jumped off cliffs. Most died. The survivors tried again with better wings. More died. They tried hot air balloons. Some exploded. They tried powered machines. Most crashed. When did they stop trying? Min asked. They never stopped. They kept dying and trying until they succeeded. Then they decided flying was not enough. They wanted to fly faster. Then they wanted to fly higher. Then they wanted to fly to other planets. Jean showed her video footage of early human flight attempts. Humans crashed into trees, into water, into buildings. But there was always another human ready to try again with a slightly different design. Here is what frightens me, Jean continued. Most species have logical stopping points. When faced with too much danger, too much cost, or too little chance of success, they stop trying. Humans do not have stopping points. He displayed a project timeline that made Min gasp. They spent 400 years trying to cure a disease called cancer. Thousands of their best minds worked on it. Millions died while they searched for answers. Any rational species would have accepted that some diseases cannot be cured. But humans cured it? Eventually, yes. But look what they did next. They immediately started working on aging itself. They want to stop death completely. Min stared at the data. They want to become immortal? They think death is just another problem to solve, Jean explained. They have already extended their average lifespan by 3 times through pure stubbornness. Most species accept their natural lifespan. Humans decided their natural lifespan was unacceptable and changed it. Jean opened what he called his most disturbing file. But the truly frightening thing is their generational projects. Look at this. The screen showed construction images spanning centuries. Humans built structures that took longer to complete than individual humans lived. They started projects knowing they would never see them finished. Their children continued the work. Then their children's children. Some projects took 20 generations. Why? Min asked, genuinely puzzled. Because they wanted to. That is the only reason. They decided something should exist, so they made it exist regardless of how long it took. Jean pulled up space exploration data. They spent decades trying to reach their own moon. The first attempts killed people. They kept trying. When they finally succeeded, did they stop? I assume not. Correct. They immediately began planning trips to other planets. Then to other star systems. They are currently building ships for journeys that will take longer than their current lifespans. They are planning trips for their great-great-grandchildren to complete. Min looked at the data with growing alarm. They make plans spanning centuries? Millennia, Jean corrected. They have projects designed to last thousands of years. They are the only known species that routinely starts tasks they cannot personally finish. He showed her the most unsettling example yet. Their planet tried to kill them repeatedly. Ice ages, volcanoes, asteroid impacts, diseases, natural disasters. Each time, most life on their planet died. Humans survived and spread further. They adapted to survive disasters? No, that is normal. Humans did something different. They decided their planet was too dangerous, so they are leaving it. Not abandoning it, they want to keep it too. They want to live on multiple worlds so that no single disaster can destroy them all. Jean pulled up current human space projects. They are actively working to spread their entire species across multiple star systems. They call it backing up humanity. They want to make their species impossible to completely destroy. That level of long-term thinking is... Min struggled for words. Terrifying, Jean finished. Min, every species we know accepts certain limitations. Lifespan, environment, available resources, physical laws. Humans see limitations as temporary problems to solve. He showed her one final piece of evidence. They have identified what they call existential risks. Things that could destroy their entire species or their entire planet. Instead of accepting these risks, they are actively working to eliminate or survive all of them. All of them? Every single threat they can imagine. They have detailed plans for surviving asteroid impacts, supervolcano eruptions, nuclear war, climate change, artificial intelligence rebellion, alien invasion, and the eventual heat death of their universe. Min sat down heavily. They are planning to survive the end of the universe? They consider it a long-term engineering problem, Jean said quietly. Min, what do we do with a species that refuses to accept any form of defeat, including death itself? Dr. Jean thought he was beginning to understand humans after studying their persistence. But then he discovered something that made him want to hide under his desk and never come out. He called Min to his office with an urgent message. Min, we have a serious problem, Jean said when she arrived. I think humans might be the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and not for the reasons we thought. Min set down her data tablets and looked concerned. More dangerous than their willingness to fight anything? Yes. More dangerous than their refusal to give up. Min, humans do not develop technology the same way other species do. Jean pulled up a comparison chart on his screen. Every known species follows the same pattern. First, they identify a problem. Second, they research solutions carefully. Third, they test extensively. Fourth, they implement slowly. The entire process takes many years, sometimes decades. That is the logical approach, Min agreed. It keeps species safe. Humans do not care about staying safe during innovation, Jean said grimly. Look at this example. He showed her data about human flight development. Other species spent centuries perfecting flight in safe, controlled ways. They built gliders and tested them carefully. They studied bird flight for generations before attempting powered flight. That seems reasonable. Humans built a powered flying machine and flew it on the same day with no testing, Jean said. It barely worked. It crashed after 12 seconds. So what did they do? Min thought about human patterns. They tried again immediately? Worse. They tried dozens of different designs at the same time. Within 20 years they were flying across oceans. Within 50 years they were flying faster than sound. Within 70 years they were flying to other planets. Jean opened another file. But here is the frightening part. They did not wait for flight to be safe before using it. They flew dangerous machines and just accepted that some people would die while they learned how to fly better. Min looked disturbed. They used technology that killed users? Constantly. Look at this. Jean showed her data about human medical development. They discovered radiation could treat diseases. Did they spend decades making it safe first? No. They immediately started using radiation on patients while simultaneously working to make it safer. Did people die from the treatment? Many did. But humans considered this acceptable because more people died from the diseases. They used dangerous treatments while making them less dangerous. They saved millions of lives using methods that killed thousands. Jean pulled up what he called his most concerning file. Min, do you know what humans call the internet? Their global communication system? Yes. But look how they built it. The screen showed the development timeline. They wanted computers to talk to each other, so they connected two computers. It worked badly. Instead of perfecting the connection between two computers, they connected millions of computers and fixed problems as they appeared. Min studied the data. They built a planetary communication network using trial and error? In real time with billions of users helping to test it, Jean said. And look what happened next. They used this network to share information, conduct business, find romantic partners, play games, start revolutions, spread both truth and lies, and coordinate everything from dinner plans to space missions. They created one tool and used it for everything? That is the innovation spiral, Jean explained. Humans create tools for one purpose, then immediately find dozens of other uses. Each new use creates new problems. Each new problem drives new innovation. The cycle never stops. He showed her another example. They invented television to broadcast information. Then they used it for entertainment. Then for education. Then for advertising. Then for art. Each use required new technology. New technology created new possibilities. New possibilities created new problems. It sounds chaotic, Min observed. It is chaotic. But it is also incredibly fast. Jean displayed a timeline comparison. The average galactic species takes 2,000 years to develop from basic electronics to space travel. Humans did it in 100 years. How? They do not wait for one technology to be perfect before starting the next one. They work on thousands of innovations simultaneously. Most fail. But enough succeed to drive rapid advancement. Jean opened his most alarming file yet. Min, look at their current projects. The list made Min gasp. Humans were simultaneously working on artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, space colonization, life extension, quantum computing, fusion power, and dozens of other advanced technologies. They are developing all of these at once? Yes. And each project helps the others. Their space technology improves their computing. Their computing improves their medicine. Their medicine improves their understanding of biology. Their biology research improves their artificial intelligence. Everything connects to everything else. What happens when they achieve breakthroughs in multiple areas simultaneously? Jean looked grim. That is what worries me. Other species advance slowly and predictably. We can plan for their development. Humans could have technological leaps that surprise everyone, including themselves. He showed her the most recent human project files. They are trying to build machines that think like humans. If they succeed, they will have artificial intelligence with human-level persistence and innovation ability. Machines that never give up and constantly invent new things? Exactly. And knowing humans, they will not wait for this technology to be completely safe. They will start using it while making it safer. Min was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked the question that Jean had been dreading. Dr. Jean, what happens when a species with human-level technology meets the galaxy? Jean stared at the data surrounding them. Humans who never stopped trying. Humans who turned every tool into dozens of tools. Humans who used dangerous technology while making it safer. Humans who could advance centuries and decades. Min, I think we are about to find out, he said quietly. And I am not sure the galaxy is ready. On his screen, new human signals continued to arrive. Each one showed evidence of more innovation, more experimentation, more rapid development. The innovation spiral was accelerating. Dr. Jean stood in the center of the Great Council chamber, surrounded by representatives from 47 different species. 2 months of research had led to this moment. The fate of humanity and possibly the entire galaxy would be decided by what he said next. Honored council members, Gene began, his voice echoing in the vast space. I have completed my assessment of humanity. My recommendation will surprise you. Council Leader Hai leaned forward on her tree-like form. Dr. Gene, we have received reports from across the galaxy. Some species are excited about human contact. Others are terrified. We need clear guidance. Gene activated his presentation display. Images of human activities filled the chamber. Council Leader, humanity cannot be classified using our standard categories. They are not simply peaceful or warlike, logical or emotional, advanced or primitive. They are all of these things simultaneously. Counselor Sang, representing the warrior Keth species, spoke up. Dr. Gene, are humans a threat to galactic security? Yes, Gene replied without hesitation. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Gene raised his hand for silence. But they are also our greatest potential asset. The threat and the asset are the same thing. He showed the council examples of human warfare. Humans can fight with devastating effectiveness. They never surrender. They innovate new weapons while actively fighting. But look at this data. The display changed to show human peacekeeping missions, medical aid and disaster relief efforts. The same humans who excel at war also excel at healing. They will fight to protect others, including strangers. They will die to save people they have never met. Counselor Minho from the peaceful Veltar species looked confused. How can a species be both aggressive and protective? Because humans are not aggressive, Gene explained. They are defensive. Everything they do, including their most violent actions, comes from a desire to protect something or someone. They fight not because they enjoy conflict, but because they cannot tolerate injustice or suffering. He showed the council data about human persistence. Humans will pursue goals across multiple generations. If we make them our enemies, they will never stop trying to defeat us. If we make them our allies, they will never stop trying to protect us. What about their dangerous innovation patterns? Asked Counselor Yuna, representing the cautious tech species. Gene smiled grimly. This is why we need them as partners, not subjects. Look at this projection. Mathematical models filled the display. If humans continue their current rate of technological advancement independently, they will surpass most council species within 50 years. Within 100 years, they may surpass all of us. The chamber fell silent. Finally, Council Leader Hai spoke. Are you suggesting they will become a threat to all of us? No, Gene said firmly. I am suggesting they will become powerful enough that our opinion of them will not matter. We can choose to be their partners now while we still have something to offer them. Or we can wait until they no longer need our partnership. He showed them more data. Humans have a concept called win-win solutions. They prefer outcomes where everyone benefits. But they also have a concept called mutually assured destruction. If they cannot have cooperation, they will ensure that conflict costs everyone everything. Counselor Teho from the wise elder species asked the crucial question. What specifically do you recommend? Gene took what his species considered a deep breath. Immediate integration under Partnership Protocol 7. Full membership in the Galactic Council. Complete access to our technology databases. Joint research projects. Cultural exchange programs. The chamber exploded in shocked voices. Partnership Protocol 7 had never been offered to a species before their first formal contact. You want to give them everything? Counselor Sang demanded. Before we even know if they are trustworthy? Council members, consider the alternatives, Gene said calmly. Option 1, we try to contain or control them. This will fail. Humans do not accept limitations imposed by others. They will see us as threats to be overcome. Given their capabilities, they will succeed. He brought up tactical projections. Option 2, we ignore them and hope they ignore us. This will also fail. Humans are curious about everything. They will find us whether we want to be found or not. Better to meet them on our terms than theirs. Option 3, we attack them preemptively. This is suicide. Humans become exponentially more dangerous when threatened. They will unite their entire species against us and fight with technologies we cannot predict. Council Leader Hai studied the data carefully. And you believe partnership will work? It is our only option that does not end in disaster, Gene replied. But more than that, it is our best option for the galaxy's future. Humans solve problems other species consider impossible. They never give up on challenges. They innovate at incredible speed. He showed them projections of human contributions to galactic civilization. With our knowledge and their innovation, We could solve problems that have plagued the galaxy for millennia. Disease, resource scarcity, energy limitations, even aging and death. And if they betray this trust? Asked Counselor Minho. Jean looked around the chamber. Then we face the same problems we would face anyway, but with the knowledge that we tried cooperation first. But I do not believe they will betray us. Humans have a strong moral code. Once they consider someone a friend, they will die to protect that friendship. The council debated for hours. Finally, Council Leader High called for the vote. All in favor of Partnership Protocol 7 for humanity? One by one, hands, tentacles, and various appendages rose around the chamber. The vote was unanimous. Dr. Jean, Council Leader High announced formally, prepare the invitation. Welcome humanity to the Galactic Council as full partners. As Jean began drafting the most important message in galactic history, he reflected on his final assessment. Humans were indeed simultaneously terrifying and awesome. But perhaps that was exactly what the galaxy needed. The invitation was sent within hours. The response came back in minutes. Thank you for the invitation. When do we start?